Hey everybody, Gary Fong here, and look what I found in storage. This is the original Lightsphere version 1.0, and at the time I never knew there was going to be a version 2.0 or up to the current 5.0, because when I made this, I really just made it for me, myself. I wanted to have a diffuser that looked like a lampshade, because up until the time before the Lightsphere, all flash photos looked like they were taken by a direct flashlight. And I started to realize that when you're in a room with a very beautiful lighting, it's because there's lampshades that send light up to the ceiling and also capture a lot of light around the fabric. I also then put this dome on top so that when you're shooting outdoors, you can have this really beautiful, soft, round half dome. Or when you're indoors and you don't want to bounce too much ratio to the ceiling, simply put the dome on it and you've got this nice dome. So that's why it's called a light sphere, because it sends light in all different directions, whether you're shooting vertical or horizontal. It's still going to be the same light source over the camera. So it eliminated the need for flash brackets, which we don't even remember anymore. And it wound up being a very, very huge hit. Now, the reason why it became such an instant hit was just a perfect storm of timing. I had to shoot a national ad campaign for Fuji for, I believe it was their S2 camera. And I literally kind of didn't really remember, because I was in the middle of running the photo lab at Pictage and I was very, very busy. And I had it in my calendar, so I went. I didn't bring any other lighting equipment. They brought in models, professional models, and art director from New York and everything like that. And all I had was this and a flash unit. So I had a behind-the-scenes photo taken of me shooting the shot and the final shot. The final shot was gorgeous, and so I had to speak in New York to talk about lighting, the principles of lighting, and then by then this had gone out on my blog, and people were very interested because they didn't know what to do with their flash to make it not look so harsh and ugly. So that's the reason why I made it, and the first night, I needed to make 500 of them to pay back the tooling and the design and manufacturing costs. I sold 500 in the first night, and we were all up all night long trying to put these boxes together and send them out, because it was really crazy. And then the next night, there was another 500. So now we're in the Lightsphere business, and I had to go to corporation and all that other stuff. So, since then, we've sold over 1 million units, all the way up to Generation 5 over the last 14 years. So the interesting thing about the design is, obviously you can tell there is a phallic nature to it, right? So it kind of has that kind of that thrusting, and now it's affectionately known as the Fong Dong. And I think it's really interesting too, because people will, they've called it a Gary Fong, which is very flattering. And I was at a press dinner one night, and I sat next to a guy who didn't know that there was actually a person, because this is like as ubiquitous as maybe the word Kleenex. So he goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm sitting next to a registered trademark." It was really kind of funny. But anyway, this was version 1.0, had a lot of issues with it. Hard plastic mount against hard plastic, which means there's nothing friction that would hold it on, which means that it could easily fall off. All you need to do is tip it over and it would fall off. In fact, even the dome would fall off quite easily, because we didn't have the manufacturing tolerances at the time. We didn't know how much the bottom was going to shrink when cooling and all that other stuff. Literally, these guys made this just, it's just kind of a one-off deal, and later we had to do some modifications to the size of the ring, and there's quite a few iterations that came out from the Lightsphere. But in the beginning, yeah, it would fall off quite easily. And I would read the discussion boards or the forums, and one guy said that he was shooting he goes, "I love my Lightsphere," but he said, "I was shooting a wedding and it fell off and it rolled all the way up the aisle, and the bride picked it up and handed it to me." So can you imagine today in the world of Amazon how that would kind of look on reviews or whatever? Now, the latest Generation 5 absolutely will not fall off, because of the anguish that I had knowing that it fell off during someone's wedding. So anyway, I'm going to come back with more videos to show you the progression, the evolution between the original Lightsphere, kind of made it as a joke or personal project for myself, to the current version 5.0, which is seen worldwide and has really cool. There's a story behind that one too. It took about a year and a half to make that the Generation 5 as perfect as it currently is. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I'll give you more of the stories behind the ideas behind the design of these products.